What's up, YouTube? Pinkerber here, back with more Let's Play Pokemon Silver. So a lot of stuff has happened since I last recorded a part, and I want to get into it real quick just to sort of talk about why things might go even slower than they already have been recently. A lot of some good stuff has been happening, kind of a lot of bad stuff though. So the good news is, and this is also another reason that I've kind of slowed down recently. Is I started working again. I got a new job. I'm working at a place that sells sports apparel and sports stuff and things like that. It's great. It's easy. It's simple. It's small. I get to watch TV while I'm at work because we have a TV that's just on ESPN and all the sports stuff while I'm at work. So it's cool. I get to watch football on Sundays and things like that. Which is good, but obviously it takes a bit of my time. On the bad side, my roommate Will, who I basically never talked about, I've had to take him to the hospital a couple times over the last few weeks. He is type 2 diabetic, we have recently learned. Which, for those of you who don't know, it means he's not actually, like, he doesn't have diabetes yet. But if he doesn't change his eating habits, he is just going to become diabetic. So, you know, he has to cut out carbs, sugars, high fatty foods, things like that. But that's on top of the fact that he also has really high blood pressure, which means he has to cut out, like, high sodium stuff. And he has acid reflux disease, which means he can't have spicy things and things that are highly acidic. So it's been kind of a chore, not gonna lie, going around trying to find the things that he can and can't eat, and just like we've been, you know, it's been tough. And like when we didn't really, oh my fucking god, Crobat, just die. Fuck you, Jesus. Fucking confused rate, god. I'm over it. I'm already over it. Delete an older move to make room for Rain Dance. Nah. I can buy it if I need to. I don't really have a reason to learn it though. Although I guess I could teach it Thunder if I use that. I'd just have Rain Dance, Thunder, Ice Beam, Surf. Maybe I will go back and teach it that. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, so when we didn't quite know what was wrong with him, when the hospital where I live is really bad. Like, actually just very bad. That's not the Pokemon Center. In fact, when Will woke me up one morning at like 8 in the morning, he's like, I need to go to the emergency room. When we were leaving, I even asked him, I'm like, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to the local one, or do you want to go to the one the next town over, which is actually really good? And he's like, I don't think I'm going to make it. Well, he would have made it. He was feeling really dizzy and really weak, but that's just because his, like, blood sugar levels were off. He wasn't going to die. He would have actually easily made it. That, and I guess he's starting to get, like, anxiety, so that was the other reason he didn't feel like he was going to make it. But no, he was definitely 100% going to make it. But he actually woke me up a couple times that week. He's like, need to go back to the hospital, because they hadn't really told him what was wrong. Yeah, so there was that. And on top of all of that, I have some family issues. One of the members of my family is also, in fact, I think he still is in the ICU right now. He's been really sick since, like, the beginning of summer, like June, like end of May. And he's been in and out of the hospital, and he's in the ICU right now. I don't think they've sent him home yet. And all while that's happening, also, the house where my mom where I used to live, it finally got sold. So she absolutely has to be moved out, and she's dealing with the hospital. She's dealing with, she did find somewhere new to live, so she's got another place to live, but like she has, she's dealing with the hospital, she's dealing with work, and she's dealing with what do you call it? With moving. So it's been a rough couple weeks. Gonna get through it because don't get a choice. You get through it or you die. Those are your two options, and we're gonna choose the getting through it option. But yeah, it's been kind of rough. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've just sort of been looking for times when looking for time to record. Haven't really found any. But now things are, at least here in this house, are getting a little bit better. Will's, his diet's been changed. He's on some meds and stuff like that. So he's okay. He's working again. He's walking again. He's trying to get healthy again. What do you give me? Ooh, I got a nugget. Nice. Would have preferred a rare candy. So yeah, so Will's doing better, so there's that. And obviously I'm off today, so I have time to record. Oh, you are a trainer. Oh, but he loves shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear. Man, I remember when I first got to Johto, when I first first played this game. Did I not heal? I had to have healed. Oh, right. It's just I didn't immediately come back here. I forgot I went and did a battle before coming here. Derp. Anyway, when I first played this game, when I first played Pokemon Gold, and I got to Johto, and I fought a bug catcher that had, like, fucking Scyther or something. I was like, what the fuck? Bug catchers aren't supposed to have strong Pokemon. This is bullshit. I know I brought this up, but I want to bring it up again. There's, like, some really harsh, like this section right here, like, the end game, it's really harsh on trying to level up. You go from the final gym to the Elite Four, where there's a massive level spike, without a ton of trainers to fight, or really a good way to grind. Like, it jumps up, like, I want to say over 10 levels. Yeah, I think, what is it? What's her name? Claire has, like, a level 42, I think. I think that's what level her Kingdra was, but it might have been lower than that. But like everything else is in the, like, the 30s, mid to high 30s, and then there's the Elite Four where it immediately just starts jumping up to the mid 40s to high 40s and ends in the 50s, low 50s, mind you. But is Brock light years ahead of me? Yeah, I think I'm ready for this. I have a Lapras. Also a Nidoking. But yeah, and then you get to Johto, and then, like, everything's still low level. Like, except the gym leaders. Blue has stuff that's, like, level 60. But there's no good opponents to train against. Luckily, there's an enemy you can continuously rebattle who has level 50 mons, which is a good way to train. Although if you're really slick about it, you can set it up to get you even more experience even more easily. So for those who don't know, those who've never played this game or the remake, actually I don't even know if it's in the remake. It's actually probably only in this game. There is a place in Viridian City. Oh, I love this song. I'm so sad there's only 2 more instances of this song. There's a building in Viridian City where I think it's like once a day. It might be more specific. It might be more specific to that. It might only be like 2 or 3 times a week. I don't know. But you can battle a NPC version of someone. I think it's someone you either battled with last or traded with last. I don't remember exactly how it works. Again, it's been a really long time since I did it. But if you don't have any data for that, if you don't have anyone that, you know, you actually had traded or battled against, instead you get an NPC trainer that has level 50 versions of all the starters. So there's a level 50 Typhlosion, level 50 Meganium, and level 50 for Alligator. But what you could do for training, if you had a friend who could help you out, is you get level 100 Pokemon, 6 of them from the opponent, but give them no good moves or no moves at all. Like, give them, like, Growl and only Growl. Things like that. Things that can't do damage. And then even if you're just whittling away at them at, you know, with level 40s, level 50s, that, like, they're not going to deal any damage to you. They'll die, and then you just get a shitload of experience for beating a level 100 Pokemon. Level 100 Pokemon give, like, 20,000 experience or something like that, if I remember. It's some, like, insane high number. Shoutouts to Brock for having some good Pokemon, though. I feel like the, I feel like Pokemon would be way more interesting if, like, it was built like this, like the Johto, or the Kanto section of this game, where, like, you can go to any gym at any time. You can just travel around the world, sort of like open world, and you just train. I mean, obviously you could weave in stuff like Team Rocket kind of things like that, but don't have set progression for what gyms you go to. That way the gyms could all have like, oops, I did not mean to stay in. All have like high level Pokemon that are like actually like a challenge. Because like as it is in games, like gyms are always scaled to your level, and they're usually scaled back. Like the first gym will have like level 6 or 7 Pokemon, and you get there after having already leveled up your main Pokemon to like level 10 or more. Wouldn't it be more interesting if like you know, like the gym leaders are actually that. They're gyms full of high level trainers and high level Pokemon, and you have to travel all around the world getting stronger before you can challenge them. And then there's also like, you make it like really RPG, kind of like open world RPG-ish. I feel like that for Pokemon would work a lot better than what people want, which is MMO. MMO, in my opinion, would never work for Pokemon. It's just not something that could work. But yeah, I think an open world sort of Pokemon game would be really cool. And the way Nintendo's going, who knows? You might see that. I mean, we have open world Mario, open world Zelda. Maybe the next, you know, the next to the big series is going to be open world Pokemon. It's like one of the only other things they have that would work as an open world game. I also just really want a Kirby RPG. Like, come on, guys. It's so easy. Like, all the different transformations for Kirby, giving him, like, different abilities and stuff like that. Like, come on. Come on, guys. Come on. Alright, so there's 2 options in places I can go. I can go this way and fight trainers and go through Mount Moon. But then I'd have to go all the way back down through the cave here. Shoutouts to Viridian Forest got kind of, like... This used to be something. Man, I miss Pokemon Red and Blue. I know I played through it on this channel already, but like being a kid and playing this game and getting like, just like, I remember getting to Viridian Forest the first time, and you know, really seeing this like place full of all this grass and all these trainers, and like not really understanding the mechanics of the game at the time, because, you know, I was a kid and I'd never played it before. I kind of miss that feeling. Where where something is like new and exciting like that to me. Are you someone who gives me something? Nope. But yeah, I like, I really miss that kind of sensation. I think one of the reasons I've been really, really loving Mario Odyssey, and then earlier this year I loved Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, was just sort of that feeling I got where I was like, I've never really done this before. And it was so, like, new and awesome to me. Like, I'd played open world games before, but not like Zelda, where it was just like, go anywhere at any time. And like, there's plenty of games that like they sort of say that, right? Like, you know, you have plenty of open world games where they claim you can go anywhere, but like Zelda's game where it's like, if you see a thing, climb it. Like, you can just do it. Like, literally everything in that game is explorable. It's not just like you can go there. It's like it's not like you see something and it is a thing and you can eventually get there or something like that. It's like, if you see a thing, you can climb up that thing and go to the other side of that thing and do whatever you want. Like, the game's not going to stop you ever. And then, like, on the flip side, there's Mario, where it's just like, they're like, okay, we have these much smaller worlds, and we have set ways you're supposed to get to things, but we don't really care if that's how you do it or not. Like, they really looked at that game and they were just like, they were like, what if someone were to try to do this? Like, some insane jump or some insane, like, series of movements that would get them someplace they wouldn't normally be able to get. And they were just like, fucking let them then. Like, they want to do it, let them do it. Reward them for it. Give them money. Like, it's a game that, like, it's two very different sides of, like, an open world game. And both, I don't really think have been done. I think open world games have sort of fallen into this groove where it's like, you can go anywhere, but you really can't. And I think the reason it works in Zelda more than in most other games is because Zelda doesn't really embrace the RPG archetype. Like, you... Is there really not an item here? I thought there was still an item here. Like, in the Elder Scrolls series, you can go anywhere, but your stats are so low that you're not gonna really be able to fight anything if you're in... Well, that's not true, actually. There's certain Elder Scrolls games where enemies just scale to you. But you get the idea. Like, there's things that you can't possibly deal with. At least in terms of combat. It limits pretty harshly what you can or can't do, in that sense. But on the flip side, with Zelda, I mean, yeah, you have stuff that can kill you really easily, and has quite a bit more HP, but, like, really, Beth? What do you want? Oh no, you missed catching Eradicate? Like, oh god. You missed out on the best Pokemon. But no, like, in Zelda, like, there are definitely much stronger things, but they don't introduce the, like, ridiculously strong stuff until you start getting, like, really strong. Like, the Black and Silver, enemy archetypes, they don't show up until after a certain number of Blood Moons, which only appear after you've killed a certain number of enemies. What is an item? Oh, right. It's the berry juice. So, like, Zelda sort of eschews that sort of like non-forced linearity, and instead goes or non-linearity, I should say. No, that's not what. Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase this. Zelda eschews the idea of punishing you for going to late areas early, by giving you all of the tools to actually be able to complete those areas, you know, whenever you want. It's just much harder. Other games like Assassin's Creed, which I have not played in a really long time because fuck Ubisoft. But stuff like that, like a lot of the GTA 2, like a lot of the open world games, they sort of feel like how should I put it? They kind of feel like checklist simulators, where it's like you climb up a tower, you open up the map, you see a shitload of stuff on the map, but none of it's particularly interesting. I guess if I had to relate it to something in Zelda, it's actually sort of like if you like all the Korok seeds. A lot of the Korok seed stuff in Zelda is actually really not that interesting. It's insanely simple puzzles. Or it's just, you know, you find a rock, you lift a rock, there's a Korok. Or it's really simple, basic puzzles or stuff like that. But I think what keeps that fresh and interesting is that Zelda doesn't do that thing where it's like they just populate your map with all of this shit. They let you find them yourself. And it's more rewarding that way. Like actually finding a Korok on your own, or actually finding that simple puzzle on your own, I should say, is far more interesting than just having that puzzle marked on your map, going and doing that puzzle. And I think that's, at the end of the day, what really sets Zelda, and to another extent, Super Mario Odyssey apart, is that it's not about, like, it really is sort of that statement. It's not about the destination, it's the journey. They're games that let you play your own way and find things your own way and experience them your own way. The sheer number of times I got moons in Mario while also saying, there is no way this is the way I was supposed to do this, was like staggering. Because I was constantly finding different ways to get moons. Maybe I jumped from some place that I wasn't supposed to jump and used this well-timed hat jump to get into an area that I was actually supposed to do some weird platforming section to get into. Or maybe I used the I don't even know what the guy's name is. There's that lizard you can capture who glides, right? Maybe I use him to glide to a weird section of the map, jump out of him, and skip over huge sections of map that I was supposed to use him for. Maybe I avoid taking over a creature altogether and just do some ridiculous platforming and skip through sections that way. Like, and that's sort of like why, if we're moving over to Super Odyssey, like I love that people complain that the game is like too easy. Like there's too many hearts that are just easy to, or not hearts, moons that are just easy to get. Like there's no challenge to getting them. I'm like, fucking and? Like, I don't care. The game's ridiculously fun to play. Like, someone's like, well, I don't feel rewarded just for having gotten on top of a building and butt stomping in the one spot. Like, I didn't really feel like I did anything to earn that. I'm like, really? But did you enjoy it? Like, if you have the game, or if you know someone who has the game, especially, like, okay, if you know someone who has the game, if you know a YouTuber who has the game, if you watch YouTubers or something like that, if you, I need to switch to Ampharos. If you talk to, and if you know, just know someone personally who owns the game, if you're ever in a situation where you can talk to someone about the game, Ask them what their favorite level is. You want to know what they're going to say? I can guarantee you they're going to tell you their favorite stage is New Donk City, their favorite kingdom. And the thing that stands out about New Donk Kingdom is, with the exception of when you first get there, and I'm not going to really spoil anything about that, but I'm just going to say it's different, just like every kingdom is different when you first get there compared to after you beat the area bosses. Or the story bosses. Not that you have to, mind you. But, after you complete the first get there stuff, there are no enemies whatsoever in New Donk City, in Metro Kingdom. There's not a single one. There's nothing in that kingdom that can kill you, with the exception of falling into the the bottomless pits. And yet so many people say it's their favorite world. Well, why is that? It's because it's so fun to move around and jump and platform and find unique ways to get to moons and just everything. It's platforming. That's why we play these games. It's not so we have some massive, amazing boss that we can fight, although there is at least one of those, maybe two, depending on how you feel about that game. It's not because of the enemies and all that stuff. We play because it's fun. The platforming challenges are fun. I fucking love what is it? Bowser's Kingdom. There's an enemy that you can control that allows you to scale walls in a really unique way, and it's so fucking cool. I love it. It was so fun. It had nothing to do with fighting enemies or anything like that, or weird challenges. It was just ridiculously fun to find, interesting, unique ways to get through certain challenges. That is what that game should be. That is what that game is. If fun isn't enough for a game to be good to you, I don't know what the fuck you want. Why do you even fucking play games? Why would you not want to play something to enjoy it? I guess maybe I just have a different game philosophy, a different player's philosophy than some people, but it's weird to me when people sort of talk about how the game is perfect in terms of how fun it is, and it's the best when it comes to how it controls and how much they enjoy doing everything. It's but and then this one random thing isn't good enough. So I think and in fact I can actually relate this to something else. So anyone who's ever followed my streams or even talked to me knows that I actually don't think the Sonic series is particularly good, and I've never really considered the 2D series to be amazing or as good as it is as good as it is sort of revered as. People talk about the old Sega Genesis Sonics like they're masterpieces, when really they're just sort of above average mascot platformers. And honestly, I'll go on record as saying Sonic 1 is actually bad. Sonic 1 is sort of like Mega Man Battle Network 1, wherein when it came out, it was new and it was fresh and it was exciting and it was interesting compared to everything else that was out there, and it was sort of a different take on something. But then it's got a lot of weird problems that you don't really think about until you play something that's way better than it, like for instance Sonic 2 or Mega Man Battle Network 2. And keep in mind, neither Mega Man Battle Network 2 or Sonic 2 are perfect. But it's just they're so much better than their predecessors that it sort of makes the predecessors worse in retrospect. But anyway, having said all that, so Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces both just came out. And obviously Sonic Mania is getting a shitload of love because it's a 2D Sonic game. It just panders really specifically to people who want to be pandered to, basically. I'm not even gonna hold it against them. Sonic is a thing where when Sega tries to do the pandering, it's always really fucking bad. like they're trying to placate their fans with this thing that's like, oh look, it's kind of like Sonic 2, except it's fucking awful. I can't hurt this Pokemon. Cool. I'll fire punch it to death anyway. You can't stop me. Fucking 14 levels higher than you. This will two-hit. Nope, it will not. Okay. Anyway. So, you know, there's that. But then Sonic Forces came out, and it's, let's be honest here, it's not good. Everyone's kind of talking shit about it. No one really seems to like it. But that's not what I want to talk about. One of the things, though, that gets brought up a lot is there's like a video that talks about how the enemies are like fucking worthless. And in fact, someone posted a video, I remember, of like them just walking up to the enemies at the beginning of the game, and like the enemies don't even respond to you. They don't attack you. They don't do anything. And my immediate thought was, and this is my immediate thought as someone who, again, doesn't like these games anyway. Like, I think the boost games are actually really bad. But anyway, my thought as someone, you know, again, who does not particularly care for these games to begin with is, who fucking cares? Like, Sonic games have never been about fighting enemies. They've been about going fast and doing cool shit. They've always been about like the spectacle, the high speed movement, the things like that. How well it works, hit or miss. Enemies aren't supposed to be there to be a challenge. They're just supposed to be there because the story demands it. Again, Sonic Adventure 1, everyone's favorite level is fucking City Escape with Sonic. Either City Escape or a lot of people who really, really like that game will tell you the Final Rush and Final Chase sequences as Sonic and Shadow. Those levels. And again, even those levels, you want to know what both of those levels really entail? No fucking enemies. It's all about platforming. Now with City Escape, a lot of people like it because of the spectacle. Again, that's just a Sonic thing. They're not like City Escape's not a particularly difficult level. It's very difficult to die. It's not exactly what I would refer to as the most interesting of levels, but I mean, it's cool. Like getting to see getting to see Sonic, you know, snowboard down the streets of what is essentially San Francisco. Fucking cool. Running down a building. Fucking cool. That chase sequence with the truck. Fucking cool. Like, that's what, like, let's be honest, that's what a lot of people who like Sonic want. They don't really want, you know, a really good platformer or anything like that. They just want things that are cool. And then Final Rush and Final Chase are sort of, you know, the opposite of that. They're very difficult in terms of the platforming in that game, at least. Platformers that, you know, they test your ability to platform really well, in my opinion, and they're actually really good stages. But again, that has nothing to do with enemies. You don't have to worry about, you know, what enemies you're fighting or anything like that. You just fucking, you platform. You do cool shit. Like, that's what it means, like, to play a platformer. That's what it's supposed to mean. Who gives a shit about the enemies in a platformer? Okay? They're, at best, supposed to be a moderate obstacle. But, like, in a 2D space, that works. In a 3D space, it kind of doesn't. Like, how do you create enemies in a 3D space that mean anything? Well, you don't really. So what's the even point of having them? You should just focus on how fun you can make the platforming. Now, the boost formula Sonic games, again, they're in a little bit of a different sort of, they're in a different sort of role than, you know, straight 3D platforming games are. They are, for the most part, actually based like 2D platformers. They're sort of like, they're closer to Mario 3D World, a game where the enemies actually do matter, because, again, that game's on such a tight sort of, path. But even then, like, the platforming is in Mario 3D World and the cool shit, I should say, and speed in Sonic are their main draws. It's not going to be those enemies. It's not going to be, like, who fucking cares about the enemies? Like, they don't matter. They're not going to matter. They're not supposed to matter. But it's just another thing where it's like, people bitch about them as if they care. Like, you don't care if the enemies are in Sonic games are actually, like, effective. No one has ever cared. It's not like anyone brought it up fucking 5 games ago where they were still ineffective. Like, shut the fuck up. It's just something to nitpick at when you can't find other things. Although, I mean, there's a lot of things to nitpick about in Sonic Forces. Mainly the fact that the game isn't particularly interesting. But I mean, again, it's like, it's sort of this thing that you go into, like, when something's really bad, and I'm not saying Sonic Forces is really bad, it's just not good, it's bad. But like, when something's bad and you don't like it, you always look for more reasons to not like it. But there's sort of like a flip side. When something's really, really fucking good, you want to find flaws in it. You don't like that something is that good. I don't know why either. I'm sure there's like an actual like reason for that. I don't know if it's a psychological thing or thing like that, but I know that like for everything, when there's something good, you always want to be like, here are bad things. Because you don't want to conflate it to being perfect. Like, no one wants to say something is perfect, because that never's true. Nothing is ever perfect. But I mean, like, those flaws aren't flaws. They're just random little nitpicks that could matter, but don't. Like, if you see what I mean. Anyway, this has been a long rant. I went on a wild tangent I did not expect to go on to. I'm going to fight Blaine in the next one. This has been a 37-minute long video. Jesus, guys. But that will be in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Pink Reaper, signing out.